Welcome back to this channel. My name is Nikhil. I am a meditation coach and a mindfulness expert. And one thing I haven't shared before is I have meditated for 1300 days straight, every single day, over 3.5 years of being in this journey myself. So I've been in silence with my thoughts, and I'm a person who made a commitment and kind of stuck to it, and it had some surprising effects. So I want to share these 10 surprising things I learned and 10 things I unlearned along the way. So these aren't grand revelations about the cosmos, etc., but simple truths on how mind works and how I relate to the world around me. So let's get into it. So, the 10 surprising things I've learned. The first one is that I don't need a lot of time. Initially, I thought that a real meditation had to be 20, 30, or 60 minutes. If they were not either of those exact numbers, then it was not a meditation. I had this picture of a monk in a monastery kind of setting. They were sitting for hours on end. I learned the hard way that this was a form of perfectionism. So some days life got in the way. Of course, we are tired, we are busy, or simply not feeling it. So instead of giving up on that day, what I used to do is I learned that 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minutes also count. I learned that even a 5 minute meditation while you are waiting for the coffee to brew, even though it is not a textbook formal practice, is meditation. And the essence is not to tick a box, it is about being present. Even when you notice yourself in a crowded room where you are getting a bit bored and there's nothing exciting happening, you start to reach for the phone, as obviously we do, and then you notice that, oh, why am I reaching for the phone? Can I just be here in this moment for the next 1 minute, 30 seconds, even? So, that is meditation. That is being present, and that is what we are cultivating. Of course, there are days where you can do longer, and I invite you to do those long sessions which actually help you break these limiting barriers. So if you are able to do it, do it. But if you're not, if you're short for time, if you're running around, you still have time. You still have 30 seconds. You still have 1 minute. So sitting in the car before work, quiet kitchen in the morning, or even a park bench, anywhere. So these intentional moments were often more powerful than a distracted, begrudging 20-minute meditation. The reason being, it is out of our own volition. It is actually we are engaging with the world, which is why we do meditation, which is why we practice, is to engage with the world. I mean, there are people who practice to not engage with the world, but that's not my intention, and that's not how I want to live my life. I want to be part of the world. I want to enjoy everything that is around me. So this is the real practice. Number two, it's not about clearing your mind, people. I've heard this many times. I was also falling into that trap of I need to achieve a blank slate or something, a mind of no thoughts. This led to a lot of frustration, especially early days. Especially in the early days when you start off meditating or you start off practicing, any contemplative, introspective practice, at first you'll have a breakthrough. You'll have the first few weeks or first few months, you will be, wow, this is so amazing. I feel so relaxed and calm. And that was just the mind and body trying to say, oh, thank you for slowing down, so now I can rest a bit. But once that phase is done, the mind and the body start to re energize itself and just takes that opportunity to uh, bring you things which you were not expecting. Maybe from the past, maybe from the future, does not really matter. But this led to a lot of frustration. So I'd sit down and my mind would immediately do the to do list. But the big shift happened when I stopped fighting my thoughts. And I literally stopped fighting because I would say, please bring whatever it is that is here to me right now. I am here, safe and open. And that kind of changed the grips of this idea of clearing the mind as opposed to clarity. Now, clarity is something we may get. Clarity just means that, as we did an exercise, is shining the light. We are seeing things for what they are. So, I learned to see with clarity, but the aim was not to clear the mind. So, that was a second interesting fact I've learned. Third one, the body is a powerful anchor. The body holds so many things, especially when we are practicing for longer. So I used to think meditation was purely a mental exercise. My focus was always up here in my head. But as I sat more and more, I realized my body was the key to staying present. And my mind would start into a whirlwind of stories or distractions, I would bring my attention to the body. Maybe the tip of the nose, that's a good place. Maybe the back of the eyelids, maybe just behind your earlobes, maybe like finding obscure places in your body where you have never paid attention to. And that often kind of helped me really bring a curiosity and breaking away from the repetitive patterns. So, using the body as a powerful anchor can help you in your practice and help you in your journey. So, the body is always in the present moment or just slightly slightly behind, because we are actually a manifestation of what we believe. So, what we believe is the present moment, and then the body just reacts to that belief. So, our body is slightly like not nano, femtoseconds behind the real present moment, but that's good enough. So, it doesn't worry about the future or regret of the past. It just is. It just is the reflection of what you have been believing, what you have been training yourself with. So, steady anchor, use the body. 4. Emotions are temporary guests. Now, this one is intuitively we understand. Practicing it, far more difficult. Identifying with certain emotions more than others. We say, I am angry. We say, I am sad. And the practice over time taught me to change my language. So instead, I learned to give space to these emotions. To say, I am not my anger, I am feeling anger. There is sadness here. This subtle shift created the crucial space between me and the emotion. Yesterday, I was standing in line at a parking meter center thing where I was going to pay my parking. And suddenly, the parking machine was not working. Oh, this is amazing how much frustrating this can be in a short space of time, especially when there's like 20 people who just landed at Heathrow waiting to get their parking validated and get out of the airport. And I could see, like, within a matter of 20 seconds, when my transaction didn't work, I could see the people like getting agitated. I was getting agitated. I tried again, did not work. Tried again, didn't work. And I stood there looking at the machine for like 5 seconds. And someone turned to me and said, "Go get a life," or something along those lines. We're going to keep it PG. And at that moment, I realized that we are so caught up in our emotions and we couldn't think clearly. That moment was an ideal moment for practice, which is exactly what I did. I just stood there, looked at that person's face, and said, "Thank you." And I walked off. And I went to the floor beneath, and there was the parking meter, which was empty. Nobody's using it. So, literally 5 seconds down, and you find a different machine which worked. Now, the reason I'm saying the story is that we all get that moment where we are stuck somewhere and we think like this is the worst thing that has happened because we've conditioned to think like that because of the hustle and bustle of life. But in actual fact, it is a moment which may be slightly uncomfortable, but if we are able to bring presence to this moment, there is a solution. So, emotions are just temporary guests. Literally, when I did that, I didn't feel any resentment towards that person. I started to empathize. I felt the sadness. Yeah, I can understand this person might have traveled 6,000 miles to get here and they have to wait 20 minutes just to get the parking validated. Yeah, it is frustrating. And so I had compassion, kindness, all because I was able to be in the present moment. Now, this was an example where it worked. There are plenty of examples where it didn't work and I have reacted, and that is all fine. So, this is part of life. I'm just saying the emotions are just temporary visitors. So, the idea what I wanted to share there was it is not that you are getting emotional. It is the fact that when we practice, we learn to see the emotion for what they are and come back to baseline. It's like a spike. It just goes, yeah, I feel frustrated now. Let's come back to the present moment. Let's see what solutions are available. Oh, there's a parking meter downstairs. Let's go there. Instead of, why is Heathrow Airport such a bad airport? No offense to Heathrow Airport. They're lovely people. But yeah. Number 5. Kindness is a muscle. I think that kind of fits in with the previous one. So we practice more kindness, we get stronger at kindness. One of the most surprising parts of this journey was how much self-compassion I had to learn. I am still learning. And when my mind was always restless, my first instinct was to get angry at myself. Why can't I just focus? But the meditation taught me. A meditation practice gave me the opportunity to learn to respond with kindness. The meditation didn't teach me kindness. A meditation is just the vehicle. So it's okay. Mind wanders. We keep saying this in our practice as well. Just gently bring it back. So this repeated act of self-forgiveness, oftentimes it was intermittent. So I used to do it not all the time. It used to be like once or twice. And now it's getting more and more. It's becoming more common. to be able to hold myself with kindness. It is actually a real muscle, and once you practice it, you will you will get stronger. 6. Discomfort isn't a problem to be solved. We are wired for it, both physical and emotional. In a long meditation, you will feel it, an itch on your nose, usually a tingling in your leg. Now that even I say it, I can feel it, a tightness in your back, and my impulse was to move around, to adjust, to fix. And unless it's really painful and you have to move, I invite you to take a few moments in that sensation, observing it with curiosity. We did that with a little bit with our practice, where we just noticed what is the discomfort when we tried to say positive things about life and world. It started to tingle, etc. Where is this feeling? Does it have temperature, a shape? So I discovered that when you stop fighting this discomfort, it often dissipates. Its energy starts to filter out, and it was never as bad as your mind made it up to be. Now, this practice builds like resilience and also helps you in uncomfortable situations. And the seventh thing I learned is an interesting one, and it's a silence is a sound. My goal in the beginning was to find a perfectly quiet room. Then I noticed even the quietest room has a sound. That hum of a distant refrigerator, oh, I can still hear it. Like the whirring of your computer, the whoosh of your own breath. I learned that silence is in the absence of sound, but it's a state of listening. It's a space where all sounds are welcome. So, what I learned is you can really meditate anywhere. Although, to start off, find the quietest place you can find. 8. As we discussed, the present is all there is. We spend much of our time in the past, the future, but this is what we have, just this moment. The only thing that is real is a feeling of the chair beneath me right now, and the breath in my lungs, and the light from the window. The cliche became a deeply felt truth. This is what happened when you meditate for long. You just accept it. Like you keep fighting it. You say like, oh, the future is what you want to build, so you have to work towards. Past is obviously there. That is your memories. What else will be there if you don't have them? Who are you? What are you? Etc. But in all of that, the fact is, this is it. This moment is what it is. And how are you approaching this moment? Ninth thing, very important, meditation isn't just about sitting. It's not just about a cushion. The real practice isn't what happens in the moments you are practicing. It happens when you stand up, when you move around. It's bringing that same awareness to everything. Walking the dog, noticing the leaves, washing dishes. Obviously, this is a big one for all people in contemplative practices, because I think everybody loves washing dishes. It keeps coming up in all conversations, which I find fascinating. I feel the temperature. And in a difficult conversation, how are you turning up? So meditation isn't just about being here and doing your 15 to 20 minutes or 2 minutes and then be like, I'm done, I don't need to do anything else. It's an active inquiry throughout the day. And the 10th thing, I mean, these are just 10 things, but there are many things I've learned. But the 10 things is I am not my thoughts. This is a big one. My mind generates thousands. I mean, my mind generates close to 80,000 thoughts a day. I haven't counted them, by the way. It is just a average human being goes through 80,000. Average being goes to 50,000, but I think I'm around the 80,000. I mean, there are people who'll be like 150,000, but there are thousands. Some are brilliant, some are silly, some are just repetitive. So, out of all the thoughts we have, a majority, 90%. Again, I haven't done the maths, I'm just assuming because that's what I feel is same thoughts we had yesterday. And that is fascinating. 90 to 95% of your thoughts are the same thoughts as you had yesterday. There is a 5% window where you can actually change. And then we wonder why we are stuck. So, for so long, I believed that every single one of them thoughts were true. I'm not good enough at this. I'm a fraud. I'm going to fail. But through the practice, through practicing continuously, this single realization has been the most liberating thing. I am not my thoughts. I am not the monologue in the mind. I can use the monologue to guide me to the place I want to go, or I can get the mind to work for me and create dialogues or monologues in the head that support me in where I'm going. I am the listener. I am the orchestrator as well. So those are the 10 things I've learned. Now, the 10 things I have unlearned. So I unlearned the need to be perfect. My initial goal was to have a perfect meditation session every time. No fidgeting, no thoughts. It is because we've been inundated, we've been shown so many images of these meditators that they're sitting so still or in calm ways, and you can ask any generative engines and tell them to come up with an image of a meditator. You don't see this. You don't see a person in a hoodie with headphones and a chair. You see somebody sitting in a mountaintop or something like that. So the perfect is just it's just a concept we created in our own little minds. So I now see a good session as one where I showed up, I practiced for a period, and I had a goal or an idea in mind. So I'm going to practice self-compassion, and I would just say I will aim to be self-compassionate about myself right now. And I see how many times I can do that. Each time I notice my mind has wandered, I come back. And some days I can be really present. Some days I am not as present. But what will happen over time is you become more present gradually because you are learning these skills and your mind is rewiring itself. So I'll unlearn that, the need to be perfect. I unlearned the habit of multitasking. And this multitasking one is easy. Right now, you can argue I am multitasking. Like I'm seeing what you guys are talking about, and also I'm recording myself. So you can argue that. But in a sense, I consider this as a single task. I'm not distracted on my phone or writing a journal, etc. So I'm here present, trying to be as uh, as single task focused as possible. But at the beginning, I used to do meditations while I was at lunch and eating lunch, answering emails, and talking on the phone. So I used to have a call on, like a Zoom call, and then I would put on my Insight Timer app, and then I would just do 5 minutes of some meditation while I was doing my emails on the side. And it felt good, to be honest. It felt good because it is also soothing. Meditation can be soothing. So when you are stressed, it is a port of call. So meditation taught me that it wasn't ideal, because it is not the fact that you are practicing. Your practicing is fine, but you're distracted. Your mind is all over the place, and you are not noticing it. So when you are practicing, if you are using that as a practice, so you say, I am going to practice while I am distracted, that is amazing. But if you are just getting distracted and then you want to get rid of, or you are getting bored and then you want to distract yourself with the meditation, that just feeds in this loop of self-soothing, which is fine. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, for practice to be effective, design that space for yourself and then use it in that moment. So if you want to practice while you are listening to me, yeah, you can listen to me and consciously decide, I'm just going to practice on exactly the words this guy is saying. All the words. I'm going to practice every time. Every time I hear something, I practice. That is one way to use multitasking or task-based meditation. Third thing I unlearned. I unlearned that productivity defines my worth. Productivity does not define my worth. Our culture tells us that our value is tied to our output and what we accomplish, how busy our calendars look. Sitting on your cushion or a chair or sofa and doing nothing was difficult, was a radical act against this belief. And I would do this in my office sometimes, and I would used to feel this weight. I unlearned this lie recently, so towards the end of this period, and now I'm a bit more aware about that, about the idea that productivity doesn't define my worth, although sometimes my mind goes back, because we are learned in a certain way, we learn in a certain way, and we have to unlearn it, and that's what we're doing. And my worth is inherent, so I deserve to be wherever I am, same as you. And this is something we have to together create. So someone else's success is not eating from your plate. There is enough abundance in the world. So the worth doesn't even factor. You are worthy. You are enough as you are, even in stillness and even in busyness. Next one, I unlearned maybe the fear of being alone. The fear of being alone used to drive me constantly to seek distraction. So I'd feel alone and I'd fill it with something. I'd put on a podcast, usually, scroll through social media, try to chase people so that they can validate my experience, people who I like. Meditation forced me to sit with myself, just be there. And I discovered that my own company was something I feared. Not in the sense of an existential crisis, it is the fear of what can come up and what does come up, and it does come up. And learning to love yourself is the biggest block I think I have overcome. I can safely say now I have overcome, and I think I'm in a phase where I think I love myself equal to everyone else in the world. Previously, I would not love myself as much. I always thought I was lesser than everyone else. And then I would just try to match up. So, like, I would go, oh, now through practice, and this has something which has transformed myself, is I deserve the same things as anybody else. You do, you deserve it too. So I was able to start to be with myself a bit more. Solitude became a place of peace. I had serious abandonment issues, so I had to work through all that. But this was one aspect I had to unlearn, the fear of being alone. I unlearned that the narrative that I'm too busy, I don't have time, was a constant stuff. Now, whenever anybody asks, how are you? My answer is, I am enjoying life. And I am starting to not say I don't have time or I'm too busy. Instead, I'm going to say what is really happening. Oh, I have to do this. Or I am going to meet this person. Oh, I don't have anything on. Oh, I am going to meditate. Oh, I'm going for a class. I'm going to cook a healthy meal. I'm going to call my parents, whatever it is. So the too busy is kind of a placeholder for something deeper. So I think there is a lot of things going on. So the narrative that I'm too busy for meditation or any sort of introspection is something, because it is not as important for you right now. So when you learn to make it as important as it is for you, it becomes something you can change. 6, I have unlearned, or I'm trying to unlearn, judging my feelings. Feelings are there. I used to categorize my feelings as you all do: bad, good, neutral. Happiness was good, obviously. Sadness was bad. I tried to cling on to the good ones, push away the bad ones. And over time, that just made me feel even more worse. So feeling is just a feeling. It is here, whatever is here. It's a physical and a mental state. It's a representation of what is happening right now. There's no moral judgment. Like, you can feel angry, you can feel sad, and you should feel it, experience it. What is it? Where is it? How is it? Why is it? When is it? This allowed me to experience like the spectrum, so like a lot of things. And now started to increase my vocabulary of feelings. So sadness might just be hunger. Hunger might just be fear of something, like all sorts of things. So update your vocabulary, see what's really happening. And I had to unlearn judgments. I had to unlearn the illusion of control. Ooh. I used to be not a chronic planner or anything like that. I used to want to have control. Any situation, I needed to make it so that I have some say in it. So I thought if I just planned it a little bit in my way, or if I worried enough, that's a good one. Or if I try to work a little bit to show that I've worked hard enough, I could control every situation. But the meditation taught me to let go of that belief. There's no control. Well, there is control in the sense of there's a universal control, like there's something which is ever present. And the surrender to that control is what is controllable. So you can control to surrender to this moment. Surrender does not mean we are giving up. Surrender means acceptance. And acceptance is what we practice. Accepting this moment for what it is. So yeah, illusion of control. That's something I'm unlearning in this time. I unlearned or unlearning, big one, comparison to others. Now with this age of social media, oh my goodness, it's so easy to compare now. But what we are finding more and more is people who are meditating a lot are starting to compare themselves a lot more. Interestingly, because they are becoming aware of what is around them, and because you become hyper aware, you become so in tune with all the emotions when you meditate a lot, you start to become aware of all these quirks of human behavior where we compare ourselves to others. We see somebody else's highlight reel as a threat to our behind the scenes struggles. And I'd sit and think about how much better someone else's meditation practice must be. I do that a lot. I did that a lot. Or I am cutting down on it a lot. Or I'm addressing it. How much more successful they were. Look at them. Look at them. Put numbers. Put whatever you want around them. That's what I measured success with. But in this journey, what has happened is it constantly brought me back to this moment. What is it that you are noticing about comparison? What is the inherent feeling? What is the root cause, shall I say? So I unlearned that external scorecards were things which were used in my development phase, in all of our development phase, not just mine. It's like we were brought up in that era where everything was compared. You had a better grade, you had a better marks, you had to do this to get to this university, or you're not good enough, or you didn't have to, if you didn't do this project, if you didn't do this exercise, if you didn't, the list goes on. And now more so with social media, there's so many other ways. So these scorecards and things which was designed to keep people in line have actually now put this a comparison thing top of everyone's mind. And what is happening is like the focus is now shifted onto that rather than actually learning new skills, implementing new plans, trying new things. Yeah, you can get better. Getting better does not mean you have to play by some scorecard which is arbitrary or somebody else has set it. You can create your own scorecard. You can say this is success. You can say, like I am doing right now, I'm calling it a success because it's my scorecard, because I've meditated 1300 days in a row, and I feel proud to say that. And a lot of us carrying around that shame. We are carrying around, oh, what if I say that and like nobody cares? Or what if I say I've meditated so long and somebody else says, they've meditated 2000 days. All of that is what I'm talking about. And this is exactly the point about comparison. Your success has to be defined by you, and you can define it. And the next one, this will interest some of you, is how I start to unlearn attachment to outcomes. Big one. Again, it comes back into all we discussed just now, just before, but I used to focus on the result. It has to be the result. If I do this, then I want to see how many people viewed it or etc. This, because I'm in the space, I keep looking at the numbers. If my meditation was blissful, then I would succeed in that meditation. I used to go through days where I would be like, oh, I haven't done a 10-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute, or 60-minute meditation, so that doesn't count. But then I came back and said, oh, I just did a 2-minute mindful walk. That is part of it. Oh, I just did a 1-minute hum. I just did a 1-minute restorative practice. That is a practice. And these are rules which I created. These are rules which you can create. So it is not the fact that the results are important or not important. Results will happen. And we believe like we have to work hard to get results. We have to work. We have to work. We have to do things. We have to change things. We have to move things. Results will follow. And results are based on whose idea? And if the meditation wasn't blissful, I would think that it was a waste of time. I was attached to that outcome of a good meditation, not the process. And we talk about this a lot in the self-help industry, is the process. And what is this, the process? The process is simply you being present. Are you present right now in what you're doing? That is the process. You created a plan for your business. Are you present in that plan? That is the process. Not some like 17-step guide to something. It is, are you present in that guide? So if you created a guide, you created a 17-step plan to create a $1 billion business. Are you in the plan? Are you present in the plan? So learning to attach to outcome, unlearn to attach to outcome, and learning to love the presence, love the present moment. So the point is just showing up and being with it. The benefits come with consistent practice, 100% true. There will be results. You do something, there is a result. That's the difference between doing and being. Being, you're just being for no result, just being. And this can be true with people, attachment to people. This is a more difficult thing. I think it's still a work in progress for me. And it's more nuanced. And I don't think just meditation can show you these things, but then the work is really with yourself and the people involved. So it is a bit more nuanced. And I'm not saying it's not possible to unlearn attachment. It may cause a lot of things to come up, and are you ready to be with it? So that is the only point. 100% you can go over it. You can overcome this attachment, the need for attachment, or the attachments in different way, or you want to change it. All of that is fine. It's just that you have to be ready for what comes up. And once you're ready for what comes up, you can change it instantly. And that's my belief, and I think that's what's happened. I wasn't ready for certain relationship to change, so it was difficult. When I was ready to move on from that relationship, it is the easiest thing. And that is where I think practice helps. Showing compassion to whatever it is, whoever it is, and yourself. I mean, clearly self compassion comes first. But yes. And the last one, I unlearned the belief that I am my story. Now, this is a big one. I define myself in certain identities: the kid who was bullied, the person who was addicted, the person who failed at their job, the one who made the mistakes. Those were the definitions of me. And practicing kind of helped me observe these and then help me change these stories. There are thoughts, again, we come back to thoughts. Not that thoughts are really important, thoughts are just thoughts, and they're not who I am. Your identity isn't fixed. And this is what I had to unlearn. It's not an unchangeable story. The reason it is feels like unchangeable because we keep reminding ourselves of the story every moment. Once we start to unremind, unlearn, I am the awareness here now, and I get to choose what I create in the next moment. I am the author of what happens next. So, thank you for actually listening to me throughout this long winded episode. Appreciate it. I hope this was of any value. I hope this was of value, and I hope you can share your thoughts, share the things you learned, unlearned through the practice of meditation or any other practices that will help other people. Please feel free to do so. This has been another session. This has been another practice with Nikhil, and I hope to see you again. Thank you very much. And I'll see you again. Bye.